So now what we want to do is we want to say, okay, so we took the inverse of a line. Woohoo! The inverse was a function. That was cool. Then we took the inverse of a parabola, and the inverse was not a function. So we want to say, well, can we be smart, and could we restrict a domain? Remember, the domain, that's your x values. If we were to restrict the x values prior to taking the inverse, could we make sure that the inverse was a function? Okay, so let's look at this graph of f of x is a parabola and it has been vertically translated up 2 units. So I'm going to draw this parabola in blue, and the colors are about to get aggressive, and you're just going to have to bear with me. So we go up 2, 0, 0, over 1, up 1, over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. These were like pre-graphed on here, and a lot of the other ones are pre-graphed, but I wanted you to listen to me like graph it, but not watch me graph it. Like if I could have, oh man, if I could have those situations, then that would be better. Okay, anyway, I graphed it. I'm not, you can tell I don't even care anymore. Okay, so we're going to graph the inverse, and we want to restrict it so the inverse is actually a function. We said that here. We're like, well, listen, we want to make sure that the inverse is a function. That means it has to pass the vertical line test. Well, no, I'm going to stay away from red. If I were to just have, okay, purple was a little bit better. If I were to just have purple from like when x is greater than or equal to 0, this one branch would produce an inverse that is a function because it would only be one branch of the square root sign. Or I mean, you could do this instead. You could take this branch and, oh, not as good. And we could restrict and say x is less than or equal to 0. And then if we inverse that, it would produce the function. Now, the inverse that we have over here is the inverse of purple. No, it's not. Megan, qu'est-ce que tu fais maintenant? That's not the original. Oh. Restricting a function's domain to ensure that its inverse is also a function. That's both lines of the inverse. We're putting that away. I think I copied it onto this page, and it's not supposed to be here. Okay, restrict the function's domain and graph again. So I am going to restrict in both of these because Miss Boychuk had it as only a restricting in one, and I didn't love it because you can restrict 2 ways. So we are actually going to get rid of my gorgeous work. I know, it's hard to believe, but we're going to restrict. We're going to do B now in both this graph and this graph because I can show you both situations. So let's restrict the original function to only get that purple. Okay, so we wanted, where was my purple? It was at there, over 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this was one arm of the parabola. So let's say that if we were to take the domain x such that x is only greater than or equal to 0 for x is the set of the real, for this function, if we restricted it that way, the inverse would be a function. Okay, so this is the domain for f of x. Then let's get color fun. No, we'll do red. And we'll do the inverse of purple. So instead of being 0 at 2, it's going to be 2 at 0. Instead of being 1 at 3, it's going to be 3 at 1. Instead of being 2 at 6, it's going to be 6 at 2. So look at that. We've created the inverse now. So much better than the other one. And they're both functions. So this is a function. Yep. Oopsies. Let's make it purple. This is a function, and red is a function. So we have restricted the domain right here. Restricted domain. And we did that right here. That's our restriction that we put in. Okay, and it created an inverse that was a function, passes the vertical line test. Okay, let's go down and do the other arm. This is, they just wanted you to see one arm, but I'm showing you both because I can. Isolation's getting to me. Okay, we're gonna go 2, we're gonna go over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4. This was the other, oh no, Megan. This is the other arm of the, just fix it right there. No, 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 oh. I can't handle it. And I'm so far in the video, I can't stop it now. We're not doing this. We're not. We just can't. I'm going to turn the slate sideways. How about that? Oh, now I'm completely confused. No, can't do that. Okay, we're not turning the slate sideways. There are no lines on what I'm writing on. Oh, just go really slow. 7 times a charm. Sorry, kids. Okay, so there is the other branch of our parabola. Let's say domain here is x is a set of the reals such that x is going to be less than or equal to 0. X. Okay. There, we've restricted this one. So when we create the inverse of this one, we're going to have another function. We'll do that in green. So let's inverse. Still going to start there. Then it's going to be 3 at -1. There we go. And this is -2 at 6. It's going to be 6 at -2. Probably just go slow. Oh, but like it's following the right thing. We're going to fudge it. Oh, watch this move. Why is that there? Go away. I don't want you. I don't want you. You're confusing the children. No. Delete. Okay. Now I'm just going to erase the top of it. Oh, yeah. That's good. So we've created another function by restricting the domain x is less than or equal to 0.